Boom. And we are live with another episode of the Brownwater Banter Podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joe Cates.
That's right, man. We got a great show for you this evening, March the 20th, as we record this. In the studio, we have Executive Director of the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, Mr. Joe Spraggins, is in the building with us today. He's going to be talking to us about some of the things that's been going on over at the DMR. You know, we partnered up with them for a while now on these episodes. It's been some of the most fun ones we've done. So we're looking forward to jumping into this conversation. But before we do, we'd like to thank the sponsors that keep the lights on for us over here at the Brownwater Studio. Right out of the gate, Dr. Robbie Williams over at Southern Magnolia Smiles, man. If you're looking for a great local dentist, Southern Magnolia Smiles is located right here on Washington Avenue in Ocean Springs. You can look them up on the socials at Southern Magnolia Smiles on Facebook or Instagram. And when you're ready to book that consultation and get those pearly whites shined up, Joey said 2025 is the year to brush your teeth. So give them a call at 228-215-1202 and tell them that Brownwater sent you. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, Taylor & Cox Law Firm has been practicing law on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for over 30 years. They specialize in felonies, misdemeanors, DUI, family law, divorce, child custody, you name it. They're ready to fight tooth and nail for you. They are operating out of Jackson County, George County, and Greene County as well. So if you need representation, give them a shout, 228-696-0111, or look them up on Facebook as well. Just type in Taylor & Cox Law Firm, and you'll find them. And tell them Brownwater sent you. This is our buddy Kendrick over at Forever Young Men's and Women's Health. It is March right now, so we keep saying it. You've blown that New Year's resolution out of the water. But if you still like to get back into the gym, man, Forever Young Men and Women's Health can get you back on track. Book a consultation with them and let them do some lab work on you. Figure out where you're at. You know, they'll take a look at your vitamins, see if you're vitamin deficient, see if you need hormone replacement. They specialize in testosterone replacement for both men and women. They're saying is that their slogan is that they're bringing medicine, health, and exercise together to help men and women live their best life. So look them up on Facebook. Just type in Forever Young Men and Women's Health, and if you're ready to book a consultation with them and see what it's all about and get to feeling better, you can give them a call at 228-363-6623. And again, tell them that Brownwater sent you. If you were looking for a fishing tournament, you're ready to get out there and you'd like to turn a nasty old hardhead catfish into $1,000, the Bay Rat Bash is coming up, and it's the tournament for you. It's going to be April the 5th over at Dewey Bugs in D'Iberville. It's being presented by ourselves here at Brownwater Banter and Fishing the South. A $25 entry fee gets you into the main hardhead catfish division, which, like I already mentioned, you can turn that $25 into $1,000 for first place or $500 for second place. And then an additional $25 will get you into the supplemental categories if you so choose. We got black drum, gaff top, white trout, redfish,
a whole bunch of trash.
That's right. A whole bunch of, the thing is the redfish is not really trash. Yeah. And I don't consider the white trout either.
No, but the white trout's best eating fish in the bay.
That's right. That's right. So, but anyway, gaff top, black drum, and then obviously the hardhead catfish. But we'd like to thank our sponsors, RT Firearms, Cass King, Miller Law Firm, Freeze Frame Daiquiri, Climbing High, Tree Services, Triple B's Outdoors for that. And then the separate spearfish division, if you're into that, you like to dive and spearfish, the Deepwater Mafia is bringing that on. So that's a whole separate kind of division. But if you're interested in it, go to brownwaterbanter.com, look it over, and register, man. It's going to be a fun time. It's a family-friendly event. The weigh-in is always such a good time. We have a bunch of fun there. So go check it out and come hang out with us, even if you don't fish it. And bringing up the rear here is, like I mentioned on the intro, the Department of Marine Resources. They've sponsored a bunch of episodes with us as well. And we have, like I said, the Executive Director Joe Spraggins in the studio. Right out of the gate, I'd like to thank you for this hat. He came bearing gifts with us for us this evening. And as you can see right there, it says "Make Seafood Great Again" with the Mississippi state flag right there on the side of it. So it's a cool hat. I'm going to be repping this. Joey said he's wearing it to the ball fields later on tonight. So what better way to start the conversation than the seafood industry and how we can make it great again here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast?
That's right. One of our goals is to make, we used to be the seafood capital of the world.
That is correct.
And there's no reason we can't be it again. And how we do that is we are able to get out and market it and get people to understand about how great the seafood is in the Gulf of Mexico. Excuse me, the Gulf of America.
There you go.
Get myself together.
It's still new. It's still new. Everybody's still trying to get used to that. Yeah. But you're right. And you're right about the seafood. I mean, people forget, like you said, we were seafood capital of the world in the 60s, I believe, if I remember correctly. correctly, and the seafood hasn't gotten the taste isn't any different, right? So it's just a matter of protecting the resource, which is one of the things that we always talk about when we have people from your agency come on the show. We've learned a lot, and I hope the audience has as well. What's going on over at the DMR that y'all are doing to protect the resource in all departments? Anything off the top of your head that you can think of right now?
Well, the first thing we're doing is we obviously looking at every way we can to enhance, protect, and conserve our natural resource. And so what we do with that is we spend money every year trying to rebuild our resource. We're looking at, we try to rebuild our oyster industry. We try to rebuild our industry and seafood in general. We put just to give you an idea, speckled trout, spotted sea trout.
Yes, sir.
Our goal is to put about 250,000 of them out a year in little fingerlings and about 15,000 of the 6 to 8 inch ones, because the little fingerlings turned into be a buffet when they get turned loose.
That's right. Yeah.
But the other ones, 6 to 8 inches, and we're going to tag a lot of those and see what we do, and maybe it'll give us some ideas to show us what we're doing. We're doing the same thing with flounder, just a smaller amount, but we're still going in the thousands of them. So we're growing crabs, we're growing everything we can, and may get into redfish one day soon, but it seems like the redfish is doing real good now.
I would agree with that. It seems to me like.
What's that?
The redfish population.
Redfish and flounder are back.
Right.
They were down for a little. Flounder was down for a little. Redfish everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's a redfish.
Right. That's what I hear.
Yeah. So our idea is, and how you do that is you rebuild the estuary, because if you rebuild it, that's what they live off of. And so the first thing in the world to make sure that you're giving the right things for them to live from and to be able to grow on their own. And I think that's what's happening out there. When we put the oysters in the water, they feed everything.
That's right.
So it's doing, that's what we're spending a lot of time on, and being able to rebuild.
Yeah. I've said it 1,000 times on the show, especially on the episodes that we have where y'all are on here. It's amazing to me. I think people see the law enforcement side of DMR most. That's the most present or the most interaction that they have. But doing these episodes and learning just about how much science goes behind everything, and how much thought and effort goes into protecting the fish population here. It's not just arbitrary numbers that are made up, even if people tend to agree or disagree with what what we can catch and how long the seasons are. It really is, y'all trying to blend science with what's best for the fish.
We do, and don't get me wrong. Every fisherman knows more than we do. I mean,
of course,
and I don't mean that wrong. I mean, they have been doing it, a lot of them, for a long time.
That's right,
and a lot of them understand what's going on. And that's the other part about it is I never think that there's ever a fisherman that in the state of Mississippi, as far as someone that does it for a living, especially commercial or whatever, that's ever trying to overfish. They don't want to do that because they know they got to have it for the future.
That's right.
And it's not good to have it 1 year and not have to wait 3 years. So they understand that. And, they get upset at me sometimes because I tell them I can't open the oyster season because of, the quality of the water and all, but they know the reason. And, and yes, we're very much on the lenient side to that. And when I say on the strict side, because what we want to do, I don't want to take a chance.
Right.
That you get an oyster that's bad.
Yeah.
Because then that hurts everybody. And, and obviously it hurt the person who ate it.
Right.
And I don't want to take that chance. I want to do everything I can in my power to make sure that everything that they get is, done by the book, and we feel as safe as we possibly can. And so hopefully we'll work it out.
Yeah. Well, tell us the reason behind this, Hat. We've been talking about seafood coming from the Gulf, right? Y'all have got a plan stirring up to make sure that everybody knows where it's coming from now.
We do. And one of the things that we're working on, obviously, is how do we get people buying Gulf seafood? How do we get them buying our American domestic seafood?
Right.
That's the things that we're looking at. Right now, if you look at the shrimp industry, 90% of the shrimp that comes through America is imported.
Yeah.
And there's no way that I can supply all the shrimp that needs to be supplied out of the Gulf of Mexico. That's impossible almost to do. But we need for people to know that we have it, and we need to know the difference in it. The difference in a shrimp coming out of the Gulf of America, I'm going to say
that's okay.
That's
all right.
And the shrimp coming out of the Gulf of America compared to the shrimp coming from Asia or Venezuela or somewhere else, it's a different type, and plus it is grown, a natural grown shrimp.
Right.
And it is, you don't know what's come we don't know what's in that import.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You don't know how it was grown.
Yeah, you see the horror videos of just the nasty pond where they're just scooping
and you don't
it
know
out.
anything about it, and you don't know anything about how it was harvested.
Right.
You know how much it's been protected as far as the environment of it, as far as the coolness and everything else about it. So you don't know any of those things. And so the thing about it is what we want to do, and President Trump's putting a tariff on them, so that's good.
Yeah.
And so he's going to try to help us with that and some other things that are happening. But we need to be able for people to know, is it imported or is it domestic? And that's okay. If you want to serve imported something in shrimp or fish or whatever it is, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to serve domestic, get credit for it.
Right.
And get credit for it in your restaurants and get credit for it in your seafood markets and everything else that you're selling that. And that's what we're working on right now. We have a bill that is in it's House Bill 602. And it was chaired by Brent Anderson, the chairman of the Marine Resources for the House. And Senator Mike Thompson, is the chairman of Ports and Marine Resources, and so he is doing it. We met yesterday. I think everything's fine, and they took it to conference, and I think it'll all go through, and we'll probably have no problem having it passed. I believe, and it may have passed today. I don't know, but that'll be to where you have to label if you serve import or domestic. Now, we don't make you put what country of origin, because we don't want to have to change something every hour.
Right.
But we do want to know, and you're welcome to put that.
Yeah.
If you got some kind of fish that's special in some other part of the world, put it there.
Bring
That's
it on,
okay,
yeah.
no problem.
Right.
Do you know what that's going to entail yet? Is it going to be like a sticker out in front? Is it going to be on the menu? Have y'all got that
They
far
can
with it
do
yet?
it. They can do it most any way, but it will definitely be something like a placard or whatever they put out. And then one of the other things that we're going to do is try to put together a committee of group of people, and it'll probably be tourism. It'll probably be the restaurant association. It will be us. It will be the ag is part of this too, because they do a lot of it, and they'll be able to help me up north, the agriculture. So that's what they're in the middle of it. Matter of fact, we married off one of their bills. It's called the Shrimp and Crab Bill. And so we married off of it to do this. And long story short, we'll put something in, and then we're going to go back and put some group of people and sit down and talk about it. We don't have that number exactly what it'll be yet, but it'll be in the bill that we'll do something to that. And then we'll be able to look at it, and we'll sit down and redefine it a little bit more over time.
Right. And
but one of the things we want to do is build a market, and it might be Gulf of America wild caught. It might be something else, but it's going to be something. We don't want to call Gulf fresh, because that means it couldn't have been frozen, and we don't want to take that.
Right.
But we do want to let we want to do something to go out there and show the restaurants and the markets and everything that are selling Gulf. And if they're selling Gulf of America seafood, we want to put it out there.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things we'll work on with it.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. That can go either way. I mean, people would really want to support the ones that are pushing the local fishermen, and then sometimes if you don't, you at least just want to know that it's not the local stuff, I think is what
absolutely.
And it gives you that option when you walk into the restaurant, especially if you walk into the seafood market and say, is this Gulf shrimp? And they say, no, it came from here. And then you got a choice. You buy it or don't buy it.
Yeah,
but if they say it's Gulf, then you tickle to death, because you're going to buy it and you got what you want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with all that 100%. As long as you know what you're getting and you make a choice and you're not, being deceived about what you're buying, then absolutely. I mean, that's a free market. That's what it is, right?
Yep.
If you go buy a steak and it says, and you Angus, you want Angus.
That's right. You don't want no flank steak.
Well, yeah, you don't want choice, or something like that. If you're paying an Angus price, especially. I think everybody can get behind that, and I think you made a good point too about country of origin, right? You don't want to put any more overdue burden on somebody. No. Just hey, this is an import. If you want to know more, we can tell you, but it's not from the Gulf.
And it just like what they get in from the retailer, the wholesaler may come in today from this country. And then this next week, it might come from another country. So, why have to change it every time?
Yeah. I like Cody's in the comments here. He said, GOALS, all capital, GOALS. And he said that stands for Gulf of America, locally sold. So,
there you go.
That's what we're on our way. Yeah, we're on our way to branding that. Yeah, I can't argue with creativity on that one. So,
well, what else y'all got going on over the DMR?
Well, we're working on a couple of things. We're doing the on-bottom oysters leases, and we are in the process process now. We have had companies that are individuals or companies or whatever that have turned in a request to lease some property. What we're doing with that is we're basically, we had taken it, and if you had to have a finance part of it, which we did, and you had to prove that you had the financial capability to do it, you get graded according to what you have. In other words, I guess if you had been in the business and you had been cultivating oysters on the bottom for 30 years, and you had the finance to do it, you're going to be up here. If you've never done it, you're going to be way down here because you're not going to have any, the points are not going to be there.
Right.
But, and the other thing is to know that we have people that are financially able to do it. You don't want somebody just to go lease, 100 acres and let it sit there.
Mhm.
We could be cultivating and doing something ourselves with it. So you don't want that to happen either. So we're in the process now of getting a bill. The bill passed last year, and we have it. And where Phelps, Barossa, and them did the finance part of it, I never saw anything. We didn't see the finance part of it, anything. You had to send your information to an accounting firm. The accounting firm rated it according to what the grading criteria was.
Mhm.
And that's how they did it. And then as far as the experience part, it was sent to us, and then we sealed it, and we sent everything to the Horn Group. And the Horn Group is doing it out of Jackson, and so they're going to grade it, and then they'll take the finance and add it to that, and then they'll marry it up with the GIS as to what piece of property are you trying to lease, and see who's the number one, number two, number three in each spot.
Okay. Yeah, and we've already got a question Cody asked. He said, are they turning public reefs into private ones? And so this topic that you're discussing right now,
hot topic.
it has been a hot topic, correct? And we before we went live, we were talking about it. I saw a video. I guess it was you and some of the, I'll just call them the
commercial guys.
Oh, that was the commercial guys. Okay.
Yeah.
So the commercial oyster guys, help me out here. And they weren't happy about this privatization. Is that a good way to call it, of this amount of land? So if you could explain for somebody that's not heard about any of this, that doesn't know any about it, how long has the DMR or the state been leasing this land? How much land is it? And how does this affect the commercial guys? How does this affect private guys? Just your everyday, Joe Blow who just wants to go out there and just harvest some oysters, who has a permit, recreational guys, what I'm looking for. Sorry. Can you kind of paint that picture for us?
I can do my best.
Yes,
and I'll tell you what it is. It's been probably 15 years we've been leasing land. But
for oystering.
Okay. All right. And we had certain areas that were leased, and they have been leased, and some have and some hadn't. Some people have leased them and never done anything. And I think it was paying like $5 an acre, and they just let it sit there, I guess, in case they ever wanted to do it.
Right.
Well, the House and the Senate got to looking at it, and they said, well, we think that it might be a better thing if we could go back and look at it and see what we could do about getting more people involved in the industry. Because Louisiana's done it and it turned out very well over there. And Texas is doing it now, and it's done pretty good over there, and Texas are working over there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to look at how we could do it. Well, they went in and we passed a bill last year. We passed a bill in 2023, and we started doing it, and it was flawed. It just was not right. The way it was done, the grading system wasn't correct, anything. So we said, wait, let's stop and regroup. So we stopped and regrouped, and then we went back and passed another bill. They passed it last year. And so we started doing this, and it's been going on for about 3 or 4 years in the legislature of being able to do this. And I know some of the oystermen said that they didn't know anything in the world about it, and I'm sorry, because I thought we were getting the word out as much as we possibly could.
I'm just going to cut you off real quick. I think that was the biggest complaint, the one I saw, is that when that memo or bulletin went out, a lot of them didn't get that in enough time.
Well, when you say they didn't get it in enough time, I mean, you can look at it either way about it. And once again, I don't know what they do every day, and I don't know what they're, whether they look at social media or whether they look at the computers on anything else. Did we call every one of them and tell them? No, we did not.
Mm-hmm.
And, should we? I don't know. I don't call everyone and tell them when I'm open snapper season.
Right.
But the point I'm getting at is I don't know that answer. But the point is, how do we work with them, and how do we work with them to help out and do what we can? And so yesterday we had a meeting with the House and the Senate and the governor's office, and we looked at it. And I think the way it's going to come out now is, instead of saying that the state cannot hold more than 20% of the land, that the state can lease up to 80% of the land. It was saying before that we had to, basically lease the 80% and only keep 20. And now we've got it changed to where it says we can lease up to 80%. So if we go in and we do this round and we have whatever the number is, and maybe it's 50% that's always leased, then then that'll turn around and revert back to the state. And then we'll be able to do it. And one of the things that we're going to do there is I talked with the legislators yesterday. I said, hey, this is fantastic. This will put more land back out, because I'm pretty sure it'll work. And then we'll go back at that point, and then I can go put mulch and I can put seed and I can put stuff on some more land. But I don't want to put it on anything that the state's going to turn around and lease to somebody. I want to put it on
for the commercial guys.
Yeah, I want to keep it we're going to keep it for the public.
Right.
And it'll be public reefs at that point. And so hopefully that's going to work some. And we're going to do everything we can to try to make this work. I don't know the number. I won't know the number until I get back from Horn to tell me what it is. So I can't tell you how much I think it's going to be leased. I don't know.
So going back to the bulletin that went out that the commercial guys had an issue with, what was that bulletin? What was that alert or that notice? Was it that there was a bill being debated on, or was it that a change? What was that?
It was that we went out for for people to put applications.
Okay.
So applications and some of them, they knew about it and they came in and because they didn't have per se experience of cultivating as far as growing them.
Right.
They had harvested them for years.
Right.
But they felt in a sense that, hey, I'm being jeopardized here because now I can't qualify, or because it cost about the average cost that it would take to mulch an acre of bottom is about $4,000.
And explain that, because that's getting a boat or a barge or something out there.
Well, yeah, but that's getting a barge or whatever and putting it. But that's putting where you're putting oyster shell, where you're putting limestone, where you're putting crushed concrete or whatever on the ground. You've got to get it up to a certain height, maybe 6 to 12 inches or something like that, and you got to get enough in there for the oysters to be able to seed on.
Right.
And whenever the spat comes across, and during the season, it lands on that and attaches to it, and then starts growing. But to do that, we got such muddy bottoms that it takes a lot, because you got to put it in, it's going to sink in. And you got to put some on top of it, and then you got to put some on top of that. And I think that's something that hurt a lot of people in their mind was, I can't afford that. If you just take 100 acres and it costs me $4,000 an acre,
yeah,
I got to have a lot of money.
That's right.
And most of your average fishermen are not going to have that kind of money in their back pocket to be able to do something. So we're trying to work out some stuff every way we can to find a way to make it work different. But we'll see where this first round comes. We'll see where we're at. We opened up the season back in November, and we got 2 or 3 different levels that we did, and then it seems like since February we've just been rain all the time, and you know what I'm talking about, and we haven't been able to open it up. Doesn't mean I'm going to close it. If I could get it opened up next week, I'll open it up next week. I'm going to still try to help them out and do what we can. And then the people that are doing on bottom, the people that are leasing it, they're going to have some people to help there too. So maybe they can hire some fishermen to be able to go and harvest them for them. And so it might be some of a win-win. We'll see where it goes. Right now, I just don't know where it's at.
I can see the complaint if I'm a commercial oyster guy who's done nothing but harvest, and then now all of a sudden I'm being essentially penalized because you're saying y'all were looking at who has also cultivated, who has also grown them.
That's right.
When it comes to the hierarchy of who gets these permits first, is that what I'm hearing?
Well, that has a lot to do with it, and the hierarchy of being able to say that you have experience of doing it, it's going to get you up to 40 points, I think.
Okay, but the point system and the higher you are, the guys at the top get first crack at these leases.
That's exactly right. Okay. In other words, if you're saying that this right here, this is 500 acres. And if I take that 500 acres and the person who grew, if I wanted this section and you wanted this section and you wanted the middle section, well, the one who grades the highest is going to get what they're part of.
First pick, so to speak. Okay.
And so that might be that you get the middle, and then we'd have to take the other two sides if that's what we wanted. But the point I'm getting at is it's a system that it basically lends itself more to a big company, and which I understand that because, and you got to look at two things here. Number one, we don't want someone leasing the bottoms just to go in and rape what's there and then walk away from it. We want someone that's going to come in there and finish it out and continue to grow oysters. And if they grow oysters, that's going to grow the estuary. And the more that they grow the oysters, the more estuary we're going to have as far as having our shrimp and other things that I fish and all. And they're going to feed off of that. And we're still going to keep at least 20 or more percent that is going to be left open for the recreational and the public, as we say, the commercial fishermen that can go out. And we'll still do seasons in that. And that's where we're going to spend our money. That's where the state of Mississippi is going to take our money and put it on those to be able to build them up for them to be able to fish.
Say that number one more time. 20% will still be available for...
That's a minimum.
Minimum 20% for recreational
for public. We call it public reefs.
Okay,
all right,
okay,
it'll be state-owned public reefs, and that would be something that if you have a just a recreational license and you want to get, you get like 3 sacks every 2 weeks or something like that. Then you can do that. Or if we have an open season and you have a commercial license, and you would be able to get up to whatever the limit is that day.
Okay.
But when I say 20, that's what it was. It was at one time no more than 20%. And now the legislatures yesterday agreed with me to say that we could lease up to 80, which would leave others open. And so the number we won't know until we decide what to lease.
Okay.
Was any of this new lease stuff, was it ever part of the recreational or commercial stuff to begin with?
Oh, yeah.
So they fished these waters before?
They have.
Okay.
And the other thing too, and taking up for the fishermen here, they didn't look at it a whole lot because since 2019, when they had the Bonnie Carey opened up and it wiped out the oyster industry, well, they hadn't had a season until this year.
Right.
And so they didn't know what was out there, and they didn't know anything. And we were telling them that, it's limited. And it was, because we had to build it back up. I bought 1 million oysters from Texas, market size, and brought them in here and put them on 2 or 3 reefs. And that was to start seeding them, because we didn't even have anything to seed with. And so I had to have something. And then we would buy oysters from a company called Spattac that we would buy them, and they're about the size of your thumb. And we'd buy 100 million a year or something to that effect, and put them oysters on shell in the water, already, mounted on shell in the water. And those things have started growing back. And when the fishermen first started fishing, whenever we opened it up in November, it was an abundance there, yes, because we had been seeding the heck out of it. And I mean, we had really, and that's where they went, because it was real close and they didn't have to go far to do it. And it was perfect. But just to give you an idea, St. Joe, one of the reefs down there, I think it was St. Joe. Anyway, the farther reef down, we couldn't open up the other part because of water quality in December. And so we opened that up. I said, open it up. If there's anything there, they didn't catch anything. And that's because we hadn't spent a dime on doing anything for that. And, but we are leasing some of the property that was, that we put efforts into, but the majority of what we put the efforts into, we're keeping.
Okay.
And it's going to stay as public reef.
I got a couple of questions myself, but I'll go to the comments real quick. Cody asks, he said he heard, and he doesn't know if this is true, that he saw that you can't even fish on these private spots. Is that true?
No. Okay. No. You can fish on anything.
Okay. This is only for oysters.
If you lease the bottom,
right?
All you own is that bottom, and you don't own it. You're leasing it from the state of Mississippi through us. And then, but as far as fishing, anybody can go fish, and that's going to be an abundance for help there too. Because,
absolutely.
And,
right.
It's just another oysterman can't come in there and start.
Correct. I'm just going off what Cody's asking. So I can still float my boat over the top of that reef.
Sure
I can pull snapper. I'm not snapping, but a redfish. Whatever's there, I can do it.
Yeah. And the only thing I could say that might be an issue there would be a situation that if I'm out harvesting, I ask you to stay out of my way for a little bit.
Well, that's just common courtesy, regardless of who owns what. So my question would be, when you say at a minimum 20% still needs to be available for the, how did you say it? I was going to say recreation. Public use. Okay. Is this, when you say 20% and then y'all would have up to 80%, is that 100%? Is that all Mississippi waters? Is that's one specific area?
All permitted areas at this time by the Corps of Engineers. and we have about 12,000 acres that are permitted.
Okay.
All right.
All
so
right.
Which is all Bay St. Louis.
Yeah, well, a lot of it.
Yeah,
we have a lot over here on the east side now.
Okay.
We really
But
built up.
that's not all Mississippi water.
No,
that's not all the waters that's under their jurisdiction, right?
No.
You see what I'm saying? That's where my confusion came in too. Is like, how much area are we talking here?
Yeah, we're talking 12,000 acres.
Okay.
Total.
Okay.
All right, and just say that if you look at the 80-20 side of it, it could be somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,500 acres that the state would keep, and then the rest would go to them. But that's if they lease it. Now, that's if in the original way the bill was written, it could be no more than 20% by the state kept. But now they have talking yesterday, and I haven't seen the bill pass, so
Right.
I don't want to say something that's not right.
Correct.
But talking to the senators and the House members yesterday, they agreed that we would change the wording. I think it would say that the state could lease
Right.
up to 80%. So that doesn't mean that we have to lease up to 80%. And that would mean that we could, if we come in and just say that we do this first round of leases and they only want to lease 4,000 acres or 5,000 acres is all they want to lease. Well, the rest of it goes back to the state. And then we would have the option at that point of ever leasing any more of it, where we wanted to or not. But then it would be a situation if I said, okay, I want to put these 1,000 acres over here or whatever, these 500 acre plots or whatever it is, I want to start culturing them and I want to build them up. Well, then we would say, we're never going to lease that because they're going to leave that discretion in there that we, if we put money into something, we don't have to lease it after that.
What would you do with it in that
Then
scenario?
it would be public.
Open up to the public.
Okay. So the public guy is still going to have plenty
Well,
of options.
I don't know about plenty, but they're going to have, and it's going to be better than what we thought of a month ago.
Okay.
All right. A month ago, we thought we'd keep no more than 20%.
Yeah.
And now we have an option to be able to keep more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, have you noticed it's kind of calmed down? Y'all still,
that's right.
y'all still
Yeah.
butting heads?
No, they got their say, and don't get me wrong. I was upset, and they got their say about it, and they wanted everybody to understand. And we've sat down and had some meetings over it, and we're going to talk some more, and we're going to work some other things. And when they say calm down, they got all you can do is talk it.
Yeah.
And the idea that by what they said did not hurt what the Senate and the House did because they turned around and kind of readjusted with me.
Okay.
And so because it didn't hurt a thing for those oystermen and all those fishermen to go out there and do it. It didn't hurt one thing at all. They went out, and I don't blame them. Like you said, that's what they do for a
livelihood.
living. That's what they've been doing all their life, and I don't blame them one bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
We appreciate you coming on here and talking about it for sure. That's to me, it's like, I don't mind disagreeing with somebody on something, especially if that's person to person or if that's agency to person or agency to agency, as long as we're willing to discuss it and try to come to some type of compromise, right?
Yeah.
Generally, in a conflict, not everybody gets what they want, right?
Most of the time.
Right.
Yeah. So let's get on to a little less controversial
Slightly
topic.
less controversial. I know where you're headed.
Yeah. So we saw Alabama open. We saw Louisiana open. Let's talk about Mississippi red snapper.
Well, right now we're set to open up the Friday before Memorial Day.
Okay.
And that's what our goal is usually every year. We still are not where we want to be because we still feel like that we're about half or right at half of what we should be getting as far as allocation, but we will go to from 60-something thousand to 80-something thousand this year. So we did get some kind of bump back into it. We're doing a thing called MS Creole.
Right.
All right. And Louisiana did it. They called it LA Creole. And whenever we all went out back in 2016, when they said, set up your own state management, right? We did a thing called Tails and Scales, which won an award for being the best in America.
Yeah.
But NOAA still hadn't accepted it. And, they have a hard time accepting it. And because it doesn't marry up to MREP. And MREP is what they do, where they do the research, where they sit there and do the checks as you come in, or they send you a thing and say, "Hey, did you go snapper fishing this year?" Or and if you did, they say you went every day,
right?
And you called the max every time, and this is what it was. So it's a flawed system, and they know that.
Yeah.
But we're trying to work with them. But they did work it out with LA Creole. And so we just said, okay, why didn't you tell us this to start with?
Right.
And so we said, let's join that. And so we joined in, and we're paying, and NOAA's trying to help us, but we're paying for our part of it, the LA side of it, the MS side of it.
Yeah.
And then NOAA's paying for their side. And I told him, I said, if I have to, I'll pay for both of them to get it done because I want it done.
Mhm.
But hopefully we'll do this side by side this year. And once we do that, then we will have a background to come back. And then next year we'll be able to change our allocation to maybe 150,000.
Right.
And, to make it marry up to where it should be.
Mhm.
And the other thing that we're doing too is we're trying to get through the Gulf Council, the Gulf of America is what it's going to be now. But trying to get through it is a new thing to say that out of the 5 states in the Gulf, each one of us have an allocation. That if one of us overfishes and the other, 2 of the others don't, and there's an allocation in the Gulf still left, the 5 states can get together and decide if they want to give each other an allocation.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's
I was
going to
gonna
give it
say,
up.
yeah.
Well,
They might though.
Yeah.
Well, just like last year when we overfished, Texas offered and Louisiana offered,
Really?
and they wouldn't let me do it.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
This year, Louisiana, and then here we got Florida that's 1 million pounds under, and,
Yeah.
Wow.
and they won't let them do it. So
Yeah.
what we're trying to do is just because the rules are written wrong,
Right.
and we're going to change the rules.
Okay.
But we'll hopefully be open till probably July 4th, right after July 4th. I don't know what date July 4th is, but we'll be right after it, and then we'll reassess where we're at.
Yeah. And that's usually when you get your count, and that's if you open the little season after that
That's
or
right.
however it goes
And
after
then,
that.
but now we'll still be 2 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Louisiana's 4 now.
Yeah, and
Per person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it will still be 2 because we just don't have enough allocation to do it different now.
Mhm.
Now, once we get to the other allocations, we might be looking at it.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
But the
that,
one thing we don't want
lot
to
of-
do is overfish our waters.
no,
Right.
no,
And we're
absolutely.
right back at the same spot we was
Yeah.
4 or 5
And
years
I don't
ago.
think anybody wants to do that.
No one wants to do that. When you talk about Texas, say, giving us some of their allocation that they didn't use to us over here in Mississippi, is that out of the kindness of their heart, or is there a financial transaction that occurs there? How does that
it
work?
would be a situation that all right, just say we got to October and they said, "Wait, no way, we're going to make it."
Right.
And if you overfish, we'll give you our the main thing is not to actually give it over back and forth, but the thing would be that if Louisiana overfished 50,000 pounds in one weekend.
Yeah, they went hard in the paint that one weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it was just
You ever
bam.
been to Louisiana?
Yeah,
I'm saying. I mean,
I mean, I went over there the first week in October, and we was on we was out 40 miles out, but there was 12 of us on the boat, and we caught 48 in about of 2 hours,
Yeah.
and we were trying to keep from catching the 15-pounder.
That's right. That's right.
Because there was so damn many of them.
That's
and,
right.
It was the fish are there. We're not hurting. The Gulf of Mexico is not hurting for the fish, and the greater red snapper count that they came out with a couple of years ago said that we had 3 times the fish that NOAA thought we had.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying we had like 30 million, and the count come back at 110 million.
Just a little off.
Yeah, slight error, just like
But-
deviation there.
And then to get them to accept that's another thing.
Right.
So, but we're working, and we'll get there. And I'm looking at another thing too, and it's something that we may, especially next year, if we get our allocation up, that I go to 3 fish a day, and one of them has to be 16 inches. Or, in that neighborhood, because people are throwing back too many of them
That's the
that are
problem.
16 inches.
And, most of them are dying or
Yeah,
getting eaten
about
by
about a
dolphins.
60% or something mortality rate.
Right.
Well, let's try to figure that out and see if we can do it. And then that way you would have to keep at least one.
Yeah. That one that you gut hook, that you got
Yeah.
to dig it out, we'll throw him in the box and then instead of
that's right.
throwing him back overboard.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at that.
But I didn't hear the answer though. So would that be a financial transaction where they
No.
would sell poundage? No, it would just be like donation.
No,
based.
that's the only thing you do to sell for is if you're commercial. And there's a commercial allocation, which is the federal allocation.
right.
that
Yes,
do,
sir.
and that's where people own X amount of shares of snapper.
Well, I was talking about state to state.
I know,
though.
but state to
Okay.
state, we don't own it. It's still
Okay.
it's still a federal asset.
Okay. So Texas doesn't even own it to be able to sell it to Mississippi.
No, it doesn't matter. Texas only has the allocation to catch what they can catch.
Okay.
And if they don't catch it, it just goes back into
Okay.
the pot. Now, and what they could do is say, well, Mississippi, you went over 8,000 pounds. We'll give you 8,000. So you don't have to pay it back the next year.
Okay.
And that would be up to the 5 states to all to talk about.
Yeah. And so that's more the federal government doing that, correct?
Well, it would be through the federal government to the Gulf of America Council.
Okay.
You got it
And
that time.
you
You
got
nailed
it.
it
Yeah, you
that
got it.
time.
And it would be through that, and so we would just have to see what happens. And it hadn't got passed yet, but NOAA's all on board with it. I don't think they're upset about it. They do it in the South Atlantic State
Okay.
Council. They do that. I was over there a couple of weeks ago representing the Gulf of America Council, and so we did it over there. And I was there with them, and I talked to them, and they do that. They have that capability.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not something that's unusual.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. Yeah.
What are you guys and girls seeing in the Mississippi waters with all the? I know there's some more structure that's been put down. The snapper numbers kind of pop back up a little bit.
I think they're there, and once again, you the first part of the season is when we open up. Everybody's going to go as short as they can, catch what you can, come home, right?
Right.
And we're going to have a lot of mortality because they catch the 18-inch. I'm on a 20-inch, or something like that. They're going to keep having that. But I think we're good as far as that. Our speckled trout is looking very good. We did have some that died. We had some killed in the freeze.
Yeah.
And we lost a couple 100,000 mullet. And then
Trevor came on and talked to us about it.
Yeah.
And then we lost some snapper and other. But, we're coming back. They're there. Redfish is great.
Yeah.
And I think, as you said, the flounder's getting better.
coming back too, for sure.
Yeah, I think we're very good in the Gulf right now. I don't think we have it, and we're doing triple tail, we're doing other things, and so hopefully we'll get to see some more.
I'm anxious to see if any of those Mississippi snook made it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if they made it or not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We had Unreal Angler said, he said, think about how many bait resources all the snapper are taken away from other species. He said, all these snapper now, now we gags and cobia going down the hill. He said, so we appreciate guys like y'all. Well done.
Yeah.
Milton said he missed the information on the opening season date.
It'd be the weekend before Memorial Day. What's that Friday before Memorial?
Okay. All right, Milton. So get that down on your calendar and let's get ready. Let's get ready.
I guarantee you right now, it's going to be 4-foot seas on that day. There's no doubt. It's going to be raining and 4 to 5 foot seas.
No doubt about
Every opening snapper season it does that.
For sure. What before we wrap things up, is there anything else out there
going on?
DMR?
So y'all got a pile of stuff.
We're going, and I do want to mention we having a first annual Governor Seafood Classic.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah,
and it's going to be we're part of the Mississippi Wildlife Fisheries and Parks and Marine Foundation now.
Okay,
it's a foundation, and it's been the the Wildlife Foundation forever, and they made us an equal part of it, which is fantastic. And we get to do that, and so one of the things that we're going to do, they have a governor's hunt every year, which we just had in February. And they do it at Longleaf, and they do a quail hunt, and people pay to come in, and we do other things to raise money for the foundation. Well, we're going to do a governor's seafood, and it's going to be snapper.
Okay.
And so we're going to have we're putting together, hopefully about eight or 9 boats that we'll use, and these are going to be probably 50 footers or better. And to go out and be able to put about 6 people on each boat, and they'll pay X amount of dollars to be able to go in and fish, and they'll raise money. And then we'll also have auction items where we'll put things together and try to auction things off, and at a thing the night before. But hopefully, and they will be giving prizes out. That you'll take the 2 fish off of one boat. The top 2 fish. And that's 2 fish to, and then we'll get the first prize, second prize, stuff like that. It'll be something to get started because it's never been done. And it'll be after the Billfish Classic, which will be the first week of the year, June, excuse me. So this will be something very interesting. I think we'll have a lot of fun. We're looking at the tournament will be on the 25th itself. And the 24th is when we'll do the thing the night before, and then pairings and everything and putting them together. And then it'll be the 25th to be the tournament. And they'll come back that night, and we'll cook seafood for them and everything else. And then we'll also send them home with some snappers. So it'll be a great deal.
Yeah, that sounds like a party.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be there for sure. What about some buildings? Y'all just built some buildings over with Mississippi State. Y'all had some connections over there?
Well, we didn't build it. It's being built by Mississippi State, but we're part of it. And it's a new lab. And just to give you an idea of what it's going to do for DMR, DMRs what we'll do, if you go back to 2019 when the Bonnie Carey happened, and then we had all this green algae, blue-green algae and everything else, we were trying to test the fish, we were trying to test the crabs, we were trying to test everything we could to see the shrimp and all, to see if there was any problem with them being harvestable.
Right.
Well, we would go get samples, and we'd have to send them to Florida or somewhere else, and it'd take 2 weeks to get it back.
Right.
Well, with this new lab, we'll be able to do it in hours.
Oh, wow.
And so now we will be able to sample our seafood and sample our stuff in hours. And that's going to help a lot in kind of anything. If you have a red tide, if you have anything that happens, that we're doing, we'll be able to go in and get samples quickly. And it's going to be able to get it back on the market and say it's not hurting anything, or yes, we got to cut it down for this amount of time. Just to give you an idea, of all that time, we found one crab in its pancreas.
Really?
Wow. Only one.
Only one.
Yeah.
And what happened was, but it took so long to get the answers, and people were just like, I ain't gonna touch that.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you get into blue-green algae, or you getting seaweed and stuff, that fish ain't gonna stay there. They're gonna go over here.
Right.
Who even knew crabs had pancreas?
I didn't. Somebody probably gigged him anyways.
You're right. Yeah.
He probably had a hole in him. That's how he got that disease.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
But anyway, that's one thing.
Yeah. Are you still enjoying the job?
I am.
You're supposed to be retired, if I remember correctly, from our first conversation. Isn't that right? From the military?
Well, I am. I had 34 years in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And, I retired, and then I did emergency operations, and then I did private business, and then got the call to come here back in 2013.
That's right.
And I told them I'd give them a year and look where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. I promised Governor Reeves I'd stay this full with him, and then after that, I'll try to make a decision what to do in life. I'm getting a little old.
Oh, is this how you feel?
Yeah, it's only as old as you feel.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like I'm 147.
Well, it'd be like somebody said that I feel like my mind thinks I'm 24,
There you
but
go.
my body thinks I'm 90.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, these hats, you brought them in here. Is there a way for the general public to get these, or these are only a limited edition?
They're limited right now.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
They're very limited. We only, to be able to order so many of them. And what we're trying to do is get the name out with them. Maybe someday soon we'll be able to do that and be able to get some more. And we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm holding on to mine.
Yeah, first edition.
Yeah, that's right. Well, sir, we appreciate you stopping by, your time this evening, coming and being transparent with us and talking about stuff and tackling the issues. Thank you for sending all your people over here from the different offices inside of the department. Those conversations have been great, and our partnership, we really do appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
And please remember, buy golf.
That's right.
Buy golf.
Buy the Gulf of America.
There you go. That's right.
Ask for it.
Yeah, that's right. Ask your waiter, ask the business that you go to. What am I eating here?
If enough people walk into the restaurant and say, "I want Gulf of America food," then the restaurant will serve it.
There's no doubt about that.
And it'll help them. And it'll help our fishermen.
Yeah, we just go back behind the Hard Rock and buy it right off the boat.
That's right.
Good stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, a lot of good shrimp right there.
Absolutely,
for a great price too.
Yeah.
Great price. So, but once again, thanks for stopping by. Thank you for your time. Thanks everybody for watching on the lives and the replays and stuff like that. Go over to brownwaterbanter.com and get registered for the Bay Rat Bash. We're pretty excited about that tournament. It's going to be a fun time. If you don't have the Brownwater Banter app downloaded, go do it. The Tails and Scales app is right inside of there.
Yeah,
you can register
landing permit. You can get all kinds of stuff.
Yep, all of that stuff is right inside the app. NOAA weather. It's all condensed into one thing. So go check it out. If you